Hello everyone, it's Scott the Movie Critic again, back with another video, and today it's an important video for me because I'm going to be talking about my top 5 favourite nostalgic film of the 80s. Now, we all have our personal favourite movies from certain decades, and today I wanted to talk about the 80s in general because it's probably my favourite decade of all time for films. And there's just so many great films that I grew up watching as a kid that happened to come out in the 80s. But I just wanted to say 2 quick things first before I start the topic of this video. First things first, thank you to everyone who commented, liked the video and subscribed after I put up my first video. It really means a lot to me. Thank you all so much for your support, I really appreciate it. And secondly, this is just my personal favourites. I'm not saying that these are the 5 best films of the 80s. These are just my personal 5 favourite movies that I grew up watching as a kid from that particular decade. And with all that being said, let's get started with my number 5. So coming in at number 5, we have Ferris Buellers Day Off. Amazing film, one of my favourite teen comedies of all time. And it's about a guy named Ferris Bueller who tries to fake an illness, and he tries to make the best impression that he can by making sure he makes himself generally not feeling really well. And his parents actually believe him, and he turns out to have one of the most memorable days in his life and does basically whatever he wants to do. And it's just an amazing, fun comedy from the 80s. I've seen it so many times and I still love it to this day. And that is my number 5. Now, coming in at number 4, we have my favourite vampire film of all time called The Lost Boys. It is such an amazing horror film from the 80s. It's a really fun and quite scary film at times. Has an amazing soundtrack. My personal favourite song from this film being Cry Little Sister. Absolutely love that song, it's amazing. If you haven't heard it, please go and check it out. It should be on Spotify or somewhere. And it's just, it captures the feel of the 80s so well as well. It has such a great nostalgic 80s feel, which is the best thing that I can say about this movie. And also, the acting from Kiefer Sutherland as David is absolutely excellent. He is one of my favourite all-time horror villains, and this also is one of my favourite horror films of all time, and that is why The Lost Boys is at my number 4. Coming in at number 3, we have a classic film called The Karate Kid on this lovely 4K edition as well. I love the look of it. And this is an amazing film. Again, has an amazing soundtrack like You're the Best Around, and Young Hearts by Commuters, probably my favourite song from this film. And I love the relationships that Daniel has in this movie with Ali, his girlfriend, and Mr. Miyagi, his trainer. It's such a great movie. It's got great directing, the editing and the fights as well. And it also has one of my favourite instrumental pieces of music of all time, and that is Daniel's Moment of Truth, composed by the amazing, the one and only Bill Conti. And it has an amazing villain in Johnny, played by William Zabka. Just such a great role. I love the character of Johnny. He's such a great villain, and the crew of Cobra Kai is really cool as well. And that is why it is in my number 3. One of my favourite personal films of all time. Coming in at number 2, we have perhaps maybe one of the best films I've ever seen, and that is the one and only classic, that is Scarface. Now, this is the first film that I probably saw it, was like, wow, I've just witnessed and experienced a fantastic movie there. Just reacting from Al Pacino's Tony Montana is absolutely exceptional in this movie, and I can't stress that enough. The score as well, the soundtrack is absolutely incredible. Some of the best music I've ever heard in a film, and it maybe has my favourite shootout scene that I've seen in a movie of all time, including the iconic line, "Say hello to my little friend." It's so iconic and just absolutely brilliant in its delivery. And it's also a very tense movie from start to finish as well. And out of the mafia movies that I have seen, it would probably be my favourite out of all of them. I would even say, as far to say I prefer this over Goodfellas, and I absolutely adore Goodfellas, so that is really high praise for this movie. Fantastic movie, one of my all-time favourites. Coming in at number one, my personal favourite film probably from this decade, in all honesty, is going to the classic film from my favourite franchise of all time, Rocky III. Now, Rocky III I love for all sorts of reasons. I've loved it since I was a kid, and I've seen it so many times. And I think why it's my personal favourite is because I just love the fact that Rocky Balboa and Apollo Creed are working together as friends in this movie, and Apollo Creed is training him throughout the film. And it has some very powerful and emotional moments throughout the film as well, which I don't want to spoil if you've not seen it, but some of the moments in this film are truly heartbreaking. And it has probably my favourite fight from the Rocky franchise as well. Rocky against Clubber Lang, who I just want to say is probably my favourite villain from the franchise as well. I love Mr. T as Clubber Lang, such an amazing villain that has so many classic, famous, iconic lines as well. And also this song, this film, as one of the greatest, biggest iconic hits of the 80s, and that is the one and only Eye of the Tiger. Such a classic song, and I love the song, and it's in the film twice, and it just has such a big part in the film. And Apollo Creed actually references Eye of the Tiger quite a bit throughout the movie as well. And I mentioned the fight before, but I want to mention it again. The fight is, I watch it all the time that I can possibly can, because it's just such a fun and entertaining time, and it probably has my favourite combination of all time from any fight in a boxing movie. And this has sentimental place in my heart, and it always will be one of my favourite movies till this day, and that is why it is my number one. And there we have it, guys. There is my top 5 favourite personal nostalgic movies of the 80s. I just want to say one more thing. Scarface is probably a better movie than Rocky III, but I just prefer watching Rocky III overall compared to Scarface. I just have a much more fun time with Rocky III. And again, thank you to everyone who commented in my first video, showed me support, really appreciate it again. And of course, leave a comment, like this video and subscribe if you would like to. I would love to hear your thoughts on what some of your personal favourite movies are from this decade. That is it for this video, guys. Take care everyone, and I'll see you all later.